This podcast is part of the Red 5 Network. For more Red 5 Network podcasts, visit red5network.com.
Another Star Wars podcast presents We Have Spoken, aka Transforming into Bob, or the Book of Boba Fett. Welcome to Bob. We're back. Sean, Mike, and Damien going to bring every episode to you, all 7 of them, to your eardrums, to your eyesight. New this season, we're going to bring this podcast to video. Check out YouTube at Another Star Wars channel. You can find all the links at bio.link/extra techie. Make sure you follow Extra Techie on all the socials. Check out the bio.link for all of the relevant links. And of course, make sure you follow Mike and Damien on the socials if you choose. Check out Casa de Dupree, an up-and-coming channel about all sorts of things nerdy. Damien does a good job, but enough about that. We're here to tackle the Book of Boba Fett, a Disney Plus series veering off from the Mandoverse and hopefully coming back to it as we patiently await Mandalorian Season 3. Listen up as we tackle each episode, talk hot takes, and of course, give you our one-sentence summary. Sit back, relax, grab a drink, and let's do this thing. We have a bounty hunter to catch up with, and from what I hear, he's pretty legendary. Welcome back. We have Bob fans, all 2 of you, on the podcast and YouTube scene. Thank you for joining us on a beautiful, chilly night in the Philadelphia area. It is January 13th, 2022, and we're here to bring you the streets of Mos Espa. We've got Damien checking in. We've got Mike checking in. And we're going to have a good time tonight. And I know last episode was long, so guess what? We're just going to get started because I like to fix that type of stuff. 1.5 hours of us gabbing all day is not going to do anybody any favors. Last episode felt like the Eternals. You know what I'm saying, Dames? Absolutely, right?
It went on eternally.
Exactly. I don't think, Mike, you haven't seen Eternals yet, right? It dropped on Disney Plus.
I have not, and both of you spoiled everything for me.
Well, there's not much to spoil. There's not much to spoil.
There really isn't much.
But you should still check it out. You give us your own opinion on it. But be ready to watch it over 3 nights, like I did with Justice League. Okay.
Yes.
So we're going to get into our recap, our top 3, our bottoms, our noticements, our one-sentence summaries, our next episode predictions, and, as we added from last episode, comments from the net. So here is our recap right from the mouth of 88 explanation of the city and how and what transpired after Jabba died. We have it split into 3 areas of Trandoshans, Aqualish, and Klatooinians, which is pretty cool. I will reveal all of the weird things Boba Fett said during this episode just to add on to our phraseology encyclopedia of the Book of Boba Fett. And because it's the Book of Boba Fett, now I've realized why they're putting all these fun words in there, because it's literally a book. And he's creating his own book glossary of awesome words. So the watermonger comes up, Lortha Peel, and he basically complains about a stapler. He complains about water being stolen from him, and he wants Boba Fett, who is not respected apparently, to take care of the scoundrels. Cut to Night Espa, which is a beautiful cinematic shot of Night Espa. He speaks with the gang and finds out, of course, the real story, and then immediately hires them. There's another weird word. There's a Mos Eisley reference, and then he basically puts Lortha in his place, and it cuts to the theme. And guess what? 3rd episode in, and I'm really loving the Book of Boba Fett theme at this point. We cut to the Bacta tank, which means we're going to Tusken Raider land. And quite simply, he leaves the Sand People to collect from the Pikes, finds out that that gang of Niktos, the Khitan Striders, are collecting already. So he says, I'm going to handle them. And comes back to the camp to find it absolutely obliterated, which is very, very sad. And immediately we get ripped out of the dream by our boy BK. Huge fight scene, which ends with Fennec sending him to the pit. And, whoa, watch out, subverting your expectations. Now we're at Hogwarts in the dining hall with the food scene. We transition to the twins. They talk about truce. They talk about another syndicate. They gift him a Rancor calf. He lets BK go. There's another cool word included in this. We'll get to that again. We transition to the Rancor scene with Boba Fett. And I didn't catch the name of the handler. I'm sure one of you do. We'll get to that. We then cut to the mayor scene, which is just a weird chase scene. And then the Pikes arriving. Okay, and then Boba kind of ends with, well, then we'll have to get ready. So we've got a pretty, I think the same amount of minutes in the first episode than is in the third episode, 38 minutes or something like that. Mike, what is the timing of the episode? I know you have those numbers for us.
So let's see. Total time, we have 32 minutes, 15 seconds.
Okay.
Right? In present time, we had 25 minutes and 42 seconds, which took up 79.7% of the time.
Hey.
Tuscan time was only 6 minutes, 33 seconds, which is 20.3% of the time. And I also did another number for you because I felt that the cold open took a very long time.
Interesting.
The cold open was 7 minutes, 37 seconds, which is 23.6% of the time. So almost a quarter of the episode was the open, which was interesting to me.
That is interesting. Huh. That is quite the long open, for sure.
Not,
and the
not one of your regular office cold opens.
Yeah, and the recap felt long too, didn't it?
Yeah.
Recap was long. I skipped it the first watch, but I did watch it the second time.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, all right, like they're really like trying to catch everybody up or like get every single detail in there.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So, overall not expectations, but overall reaction to this episode after I have 3 watches in. I know, Dame, I think you have a couple. I think, Mike, I'm assuming you have a couple. Dame, let's start with you. What's our overall reaction to the episode?
So this one was better. And like Mike just, laid out for us, we spent more time in the present, which is what we want to see. Like, I appreciate the Tuscan stuff. And a lot of people really liked chapter 2 because of that Tuscan backstory and like just all of the mythos and everything he was doing to get to where he was. But I just want to live in the present with Boba and see the conflict that he's going through and learning how to lead and how to rule. And for me, I appreciated this episode a little bit more than chapter 2, but I still had gripes about it. And there were still a couple things that were just like weird and they just didn't fit with the episode for me.
Okay. Mike?
Yeah, I feel the same. I feel like each episode is getting incrementally better. I do enjoy the present time more than the Tuscan time, but I still feel like the Tuscan time is very well done. It's the weird thing about this episode, even though I think it is like each episode gets a little bit better. All of my highlights lead into a Grievous about a highlight. So if there are certain things about this episode that if it didn't happen, I would have liked this episode a lot more than I did.
Okay, that's fair. And on my first watch, which often happens very early in the morning, and I really enjoyed the episode. I liked it a lot. I remember coming out of that episode going, all right, we got it storming up now. Here we go. Now we're mixing it in. We're 3 episodes in. We got 4 to go. 4 is our middle. So 4 is going to be either lots of more build up, or something's going to hit the fan, and then we're going to kind of come down. It's like we're in a rising action in this episode. on second watch and kind of perusing through Twitter, you know, I'm starting to see the point outs and I'm going, yeah, they're right. So then on my third watch, what I usually do is I sort of start breaking it down. I pause it, I rewind, I take some screenshots. I start going, oh, this episode's way slower than I remember on the first watch, and just felt sluggish to me on that. Like I felt like literally I knew it was only 30 minutes, and I was like, wow, I have 12 minutes left of this episode, and I'm not even at the chase scene. This is crazy. So yeah, so I think you know, if you're casually watching this episode, I think it's enjoyable for sure. If you're breaking it down like all the 8,542 other podcasts out there, then we're definitely going to have some gripes. So let's get into our analysis here. We'll start with some, you know, we can kind of mix in since we've got a mix, Mr. Mike, we're going to mix the top into the bottom, and that's okay. Let's start with you. What's one of your tops? And if it has to move into a bottom, that's okay too.
So not my top. One of my highlights is just the Rancor, just getting Boba getting the Rancor. I love that the Rancor pit is now going to be he's going to be housed in the Rancor pit. It will no longer be empty, as Fennec told us before. I love Trejo as the Rancor Wrangler, and I think we'll see more Trejo, and I think Trejo is going to be awesome. It leads into one of my grievances of Boba baby talking to the Rancor in his intense voice. Like I had this,
what are we gonna call you?
There's the spot. There's the spot.
I had this inner monologue with myself of like, does Tamara Morrison only know how to do intense monotone voice? Where like I wrote down some of the stuff that he said.
Yes.
I think he likes me. Easy. And you two said the other ones, is that the spot? What are we going to call you? Like it just came across as so awkward. And it's one of those things, like I said, my highlights I feel like are highlights. I feel like we're all gonna have the same highlights. But every single highlight had a crazy grievous that brought it down a level or two. And Boba baby talking coochie coochie coo to this Rancor was awful. But I love the idea of him riding, of Trejo teaching him how to ride. Yeah. Like the witches. I love the idea of Rancor. I love that now he's going to become this like Jabba-esque crime boss in Mos Espa. But the coochie coochie coo to the Rancor just left an unmolested taste in my mouth.
Stop it. So what's worse, coochie coochie Boba or baby noises Grogu?
Oh, it's got to be Boba.
Boba. Hands down.
Grogu was the child, so you're like, okay, like, that's fine. Oh my
god, that's
Boba's
awesome.
here. I mean, although I can't fault Boba because that's exactly how I talked to my dog when we rescued it. I'm like, there's the spot. What are we going to call you?
I had the same. I called it Rancor History 101 and Trey Hagrid. And same reasons. So they're dispelling the Rancor myths of violence and et cetera, and because I wanted to troll the internet, all 50 followers on my Insta spam account got a picture of the Rancor.
Hey.
And I just had winky faces after it, and I just put caption intelligent creature. And what's interesting about that is that it says Rancors come from a remote planet named Dathomir. Most people think that Rancors are entirely savage, but in fact, they have a primitive intelligence. Mm-hmm. So the encyclopedia prior to Le Disney claims the same thing. So I do like the continuity with that, because Return of the Jedi does not give us that feeling, but now Return of the Jedi and the Beast Master, that sad scene holds a lot more weight.
Yes.
Today.
We know if,
go ahead, Dave.
Sorry, is Malakili, is that a name or a title? Because maybe Danny Trejo could be the new Malakili. Like, I don't know if that's his name from Return of the Jedi, or if that's like a title for Rancor Keeper or Keeper. And also the Hagrid thing's amazing. You're a keeper, Boba.
Malakili is in the encyclopedia, and I think it's his name. Jabba's animal handler Malakili takes care of the murderous Rancor monster that Jabba keeps in the pit beneath. He's grown fond of the fearsome beast and regards it as a kind-hearted creature and a friend. So there you go. So
I cannot wait for our classic Favreau Rancor riding montage. They better have something like St. Elmo's Fire playing on the background.
Oh my god. So I have something prepared for a little bit later. Well, actually, you know what? I don't need to prepare it because I can do it right now. And what it is I did read that, Boba says, I've ridden things 10 times the size. And I think that's a reference to the holiday special and his little cartoony. I've never seen the holiday special, but I know that scene. That's how much pop culture that is. And I did watch the Legacy Under the Helmet. I don't know if you watched that just yet. It's really good. It's 21 minutes long. I wish it was a little bit longer, but that's what she said. And it was excellent. And in my predictions, I'm going to have a little fun thing about the montage. We'll get to that a little bit later. Stay tuned. All right, Dames, do you have any Rancor talk to follow up with, or would you like to move us along?
I mean, I would definitely move us along for my tops, but I mean, the Rancor lore was super cool because just ruthless beast, like mindless creature, just, gets fed random people that happen to be stupid enough to stand on the trapdoor. So to learn like that the Rancor is depressed and it imprints on the first person it sees. I really like that stuff a lot, that it was much more than what we thought it was in just Return of the Jedi. So that was pretty cool. And I know you referenced the Bad Batch, I think it was,
yes,
where there's a baby Rancor in that too. So I need to go back and watch that. I forgot Peacemaker was coming out today, so that kind of took precedent over Bad Batch. But I mean, for me, one of my favorite things was just BK. Like he was, and this also leads into a negative or a grievous for the episode. But he was just like brutal. So like we see Chewbacca, and like Chewbacca is just like, using the bowcaster, mowing down people. But like BK was just like 5 notches above that. He was just ruthless in this episode, taking everybody on. And it was just really cool to see that, and just see another Wookiee that is just like no conscience, no whatever, just ruthless killer. So I really like seeing that whole scene where he just yanks him out of the back of the tank, like, good morning, here you go, time to go to school. Just immediately pounds him. He's got the brass knuckles, all this cool stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 1-on-1, you're dead. Boba was dead. That's just what he was. He was 100% out of here. So this leads into I have BK scenes, and I realized that I kind of doubled the BK scene. But I'm going to talk about thematic modes here, where we go from an intense sadness. I was sad for the Tusken Raiders, because they spent a lot of time. I mean, they spent a lot of time, as we complained about, with the Tuskens, just to off them as quickly versus what we've spent with them. So I felt sadness to an immediate sneak attack by BK, and I was not prepared for it. Like, I screen capped BK's face and I screen capped Boba's face. It will be on the thumbnail for our YouTube video, so make sure you check out the YouTube video if you haven't done that. And I was scared, man. That BK scene is wild, violent, and all sorts of awesome. Although you could say that the choreography was kind of bad. I'll pass it to you, Mike.
Yeah, I loved the BK scene, especially you saying about the sadness with the Tuskens, especially when he's putting the like junior training Gaffi stick on the fire, I was like, ooh, that's sad. And when they open the back of the tank, you're just thinking, oh, Fennec's coming to get him up. No, not in the slightest.
No.
He has the electro-charged brass knuckles that just knock him straight out.
Yeah.
He
took some hits. I don't understand how he could get hit like that and still survive. And I think that's his DNA, because he's technically a clone. He's a clone, so, I'm sure he has some sort of healing ability that's a little bit different, although he needs a back to tank every night. So I don't know.
Just getting tossed around in his tagless Hanes.
He looked like Tommy Pickles from Rugrats.
He did. Somebody put the shot of Danny DeVito from It's Always Sunny.
Right?
That's perfect.
It was spot on.
But didn't he Undy Ruse reminisce the Empire Strikes Back to tank underwear that Luke wears a little bit, like the way it was shaped and stuff like that? Maybe not as bulky. This was a little slimmer.
Less padding.
Yeah,
for Luke,
a little bit of slimmer.
And it led into I had a question about the back to tank where the night wind, or sleepy farts, as I like to call them.
Night wind. Oh my God. Thank you.
So
highbrow stuff here, folks. Highbrow stuff here.
They have the fight with this is only like one of my grievances with the BK scene. They have the fight with Boba, and he is like struggling to get to that back to tank. BK essentially is breaking his back, and he just comes out and puts his robe on like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Like he's just getting out of the shower. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
Tank that good?
Maybe when you're fresh out of the back to tank, you're a little bit stronger. I don't know. I mean, they bring up a lot of Bacta in the High Republic, which is 200 years before. Bacta is not even a thing, and they're just starting to farm it. So, like, they're trying to figure out all the healing properties, and obviously they've advanced it over 90, I don't know how much, whatever it is, 80 years, 70 to 80 years, past that time. I don't know the healing qualities of it. It didn't bring Luke's hand back, but it must have done something, right, to help him along, with that kind of stuff. And then if you think about it, it's likely that Vader's little chamber was just all backed up too.
Oh, yeah.
Without saying it, probably, and he's dipping his toes, not really, into the water there. And, that's helping him survive just a little bit. But speaking of things that curl, I couldn't stand the curled toe of Boba Fett briefly when his back is being cracked. It has an unnatural curl. It will never leave my brain. I'm concerned for America and for the rest of the world. Please watch it back and be concerned with me, because I'm not into the toe thing, and that was basically his gaffy toe. That's how curved that was. No, thank you. So that's that. That
hashtag toe gang out there.
That's no, thank you. No, thank you. That was one of my bottoms. I wrote down curling toe of Boba.
Gross.
Also, Sean, you might be able to answer this because I'm not like as well versed with a lot of the books and stuff out there. Is Bacta like the consistency of KY jelly?
Yeah, I thought so too. I definitely thought
super glossy. I'm like, was this guy in old school or what is going on?
I think if it's more of like an aloe consistency.
Or like mineral oil, maybe.
Yeah, mineral oil. Yeah, I'm not thinking it's as thick as like a Vaseline or.
It's a Gabe Kapler special.
Yeah,
a little coconut oil.
Thank God. But I think it's mineral. I think mineral. Is it mineral oil or mineral water? What was it?
Both. Mineral oil.
Fair. I found out something interesting about mineral oil. You can submerge computer parts in it because it does not conduct electricity.
That's pretty sweet.
It's pretty sweet. I've seen builds. Anyways, sidebar back. Okay, my top threes are done. Okay, so if anybody has any, just raise your finger if you have a top three or top moment that you would like to talk about, and we can keep going.
I think we got him.
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, there we go.
So
You raised 5 fingers.
I raised all 5. I just wanted to stay with the BK scene,
Okay.
and
Yes.
because it led into the low light of they're going to this well too often of introducing something really awesome and then getting rid of it unceremoniously.
Okay.
It happened in Mando a couple times with the Dark Troopers, where they were supposed to be feared, and I understand why they got rid of them unceremoniously, where they had to show Luke's power. I understand why. I understood why they got rid of the Dark Troopers in that sort of manner. The Razor Crest, just a distant shot, gets blown up.
Come on, man. You don't have to bring that up. You don't have to bring that up anymore.
And then we get BK, and he's an amazing character.
Yeah.
And they show him with Boba, and I'm thinking, oh, Boba's going to build his army. He just got, the Skittles gang. He's going to be good to go. And he's going to get BK on his side, and stuff's going to start to go down. And he just runs to the right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's gone, for sure.
I don't think he's gone, but
you would have liked to see the alliance. Like BK goes, I'll stick around.
Yeah, like BK's definitely going to show up in some random, like a hot tag in wrestling. Boba and
say, have it your way, Pikes, and just go to town with those brass knucks.
Yeah, and he's going to show up in that sort of way, but like it just seemed awkward.
Yeah. I liked the eyebrow that he gives Boba when he's like, "You're letting me go." That's interesting. Like I felt like that there tells me like he's gonna probably stick around on Tatooine for a bit because he's not getting on the Hutt train because Hutts are done with him. Which I enjoyed that scene too with the twins. I thought that was pretty cool. A lot of information coming from them in terms of storyline progression was great.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I will be disappointed if that's the last we see of BK. I will agree with you on that one. A little bit of a letdown. I agree for sure. How weird was the food scene?
Very.
Yeah.
Right.
Weird.
Like we go from very intensity, and then they're just chowing down. Right? Like I don't understand the chow, the food, where is all this coming from? This doesn't make sense to me. Like I guess they're trying to prove that he's in a palace and whatever. But like I just one of those jarring changes in the episode, the opposite of sadness to intensity. I thought there was going to be like, we need to respond right now. And it's weird because they talked about that in that scene where they said, we have to. Ready?
I have to send a message.
You already did. They sent Chrysanthemum to kill you, and now he's locked up in your dungeon. I say, you wait for them to show their hand.
And they did. And amazingly, the twins, by the way, would have taken them quite a bit to get to the palace. So
those poor guys, they had to carry them pretty much up a hill.
Up a hill, both ways. And
in the snow.
In the sand snow.
Who
and
needs P90X? Like just carry a couple of Hutt twins around, you're good to go.
And just like that, the Hutt twins are resolved. So what do we think about that? Do you think that's too fast, the Hutt twins thing, or we think they're coming back? Or did they run out of money?
All good points.
I mean, they had like a spare Rancor to give up. Like, they're just like, oh, here you go. Here's a Rancor. Like, you got it.
Or is it
I can't imagine BK being that much. Huh?
Is it a slow play where the Hutts are leaving the planet hoping that Boba takes care of the Pikes?
Okay.
And then they come back and try to get a decimated Boba army.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
think that's where they're going. It's definitely, in
Plausible.
my opinion, not the last that we see of them, for sure.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Do we think the Rancor is like a Trojan horse and there's mini slugs inside of it to infiltrate the... No, just kidding.
That's
it.
deep.
But
I don't know.
but Sean, speaking
Yes.
of your the dinner scene, I think that scene was actually very telling, which is with one thing that I've been saying for I think the last 2 episodes with Fennec with her feet on the table.
Yeah, what's up with that?
It still seems like she's calling the shots. It's I mean, I don't know if it's going to lead to my hot take prediction of her heel turning, but every time they go somewhere, it still feels like she's calling the shots. She's like, we need to do this, and he's like, yes, we do need to do this. It's more like Fennec's show, not show as in like Book of Boba Fett, like running the like the daimyo. She's the daimyo.
Yeah, she's wearing the bathrobe in the family. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not the Book of Boba Fett. It's a soliloquy of Shand.
Very good. I'm hoping that the flashbackies sort of continue in small. He's got to respond to the Niktos. Maybe it leads into him finding Fennec. Maybe there's flashbacks of him healing Fennec. And then maybe she goes, I owe you my life, so I'm going to commit myself to you for the rest. And I can provide you advice because I've been doing this a long time. And then maybe that all makes sense. And then the heel turn is worse.
Yeah.
Because we get a personal relationship in the flashbacks, and then she tries to kill him. But she's a good character, so I don't know. Would they make the same mistake twice with a female character in Star Wars? Were they off a popular character in 2 shows?
Maybe she goes on her own way. I mean, like, to Mike's point, when I was watching it, like, where was she when BK just like walked into the palace, walked all the way back to where the tank was, rips Boba out of it, and then she was the last stand. Like, it was all the other,
that's a good point,
hybrid people going after him. It was the Gamorrean guards going after him, and then Fennec's like the last person. Like, oh crap, I guess it didn't work. Whatever.
So did she let him in?
Curious.
That's curious, because I was wondering that. Like, listen, Luke needed entry. He did it. Yeah, I'm sure he could have gotten in if he wanted to, but he needed that entry, that door that rises and whatever. So was he let in by that little Fennec? That's
also,
son of a gun.
She just name dropped him too. Like, his name was never mentioned.
Fair.
Right. Good point.
Fair. Ooh, we got something cooking here for sure. Very nice.
Maybe he rats her out or something like that. Like, and then that leads to him being the big, the big muscle taking Fennec's place for Boba.
Oh, very, very, very interesting. Yes, I like it. Okay. I think this will lead to our noticements then, friends, right?
Yes.
And if we want to chat about it, I know I noticed that water absolutely triggers Boba Fett intensely, but I did enjoy all of the Lortha Peel acting scenes. He was perfect as a watermonger. The whole, they owe me money, and I love that it sounded like this.
But they owe 1,300. I heard you the first time.
I love that interaction. You're going to take 500 and you're going to cut your prices, or you can move to Mos Eisley, you scumbag. I loved everything about that. That was awesome. Like, that whole scene. Did you anticipate that cameo? Because I thought that was a great one.
That was out of
I
nowhere.
loved him.
Yeah.
Stephen Root is so good. Like, people know him as Milton.
Yep.
But he does so much more than that. Like, he plays a really good jerk in a lot of movies. Like, Get Out, he was just like awesome in Get Out.
Yeah.
And to see him here like pleading and being like the innocent guy at first, and all of a sudden it's like, wait, you're charging $1,300 for water?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It was awesome. He's so good. I totally wasn't expecting someone like him to be in anything Star Wars ever. So
for sure.
I was happily surprised.
Yeah, and he's also a great sleeper actor in Dodgeball. Great character in Dodgeball, for sure.
He's great in Barry. Barry, he's really good.
Yes. Yes,
Mhm.
also agree. Also
Gotta go
agree. I hope they're
Barry.
coming back. Is that coming
Wow.
back? That show coming back?
Yeah, it's
Season
coming
3?
back soon, I think, this year.
Nice for awesome. That's awesome. I think that this episode with the Tuskens and the sadness 100% makes Attack of the Clones sort of more important when Anakin goes through and decimates one of their camps. I don't know, of course, there's many tribes on, Tatooine and stuff, but that was mean, Anakin. That was a deep cut. And they have their own culture and he slaughtered them, but they didn't, maybe it is part of that same tribe because they didn't kill Shmi. She was just digging for water. That's all she was doing. And he didn't quite like that. So I just like that sort of connection with Attack of the Clones because we sort of, the sand people get that, I guess, that restitution. But there's a lot of talk online of indigenous peoples and how the Tuskens have, so that's their analogy. And how people are saying that it's sort of, very, very Western-like, where they would have Native Americans slaughtered, on TV shows back in the day, and whatever. So there could be some triggering with this certain scene, for certain people. But I think it hit for me in terms of sadness, because I was sad for that, for sure, because that was his family. So, but I also think it kind of just, again, anchors to the main movies pretty good. It's a good positive forward movement with that. So that's kind of what I noticed. Let me throw it to Damien. I had 2. Go ahead.
So one thing I noticed, and this was, I usually don't watch the end credits with the concept art that much.
Fair.
But why aren't the Gamorrean guards just wearing something? Like, why do they have dad bod abs? Like in the concept art, they look
armored
like
up.
good old Gamorrean guards,
Yeah.
and to me that just kind of like bugs me because it feels like they're trying to distance themselves a little bit from certain aspects of the trilogy. But yeah, that just, I don't know.
Interesting.
Like you see him walking through there, they look like Gamorrean guards. I'm like, great. And now these are like tween Gamorrean guards, like in college or whatever, like pounding beers and not wearing a shirt. So that was just something that was, it's weird. I really like watching though, and I do this my second watch, the concept art versus what we see in the show,
Okay.
and how close or distant those two things are. So that was just something I noticed. I'm like, oh well, they have shirts in here, but not in the actual show. So I don't know.
How about that scene of BK just tackling both of them downstairs?
Oh yeah. Done. Get him to the back the tank.
Are we getting a Gamoran flashback next episode?
It's one of those guys' dads that gets eaten by the first Rancor or something.
He's in the back of the tank, and then all of a sudden it's and it's Peppa Pig. All right.
As a dad, I fully appreciate that so much.
Dames, do you want to throw another one in there? We'll do 2.
I mean, just Danny Trejo. Him and Robert Rodriguez work on a lot of different stuff together, and I didn't think, because like pretty much anything Robert Rodriguez does, if he can fit him in it, he does.
Okay.
And now that he's the new Rancor keeper, I was just like, that totally makes sense. Like, why didn't I think that he would be in here at some point? And he's just such a good actor. Like, he just conveys so much emotion, but he's also a badass at the same time. So to see him as like the new Rancor keeper was really, really cool.
Yeah, who would have thought that like all his movies where he's often a villain or often mean, now he's going to be coochie cooing to a Rancor in the nerdiest universe out there. I love it. Mike, we throw it to you. Give us 2.
So, well, speaking of Trejo, fun fact, he and Robert Rodriguez are second cousins, apparently.
Oh.
Just found that out today. Thanks, Google.
Oh, a little favoritism then.
Yeah.
All right,
there's
Disney.
Nepotism with that, for sure.
Michael and his nephew in The Office, and Danny Trejo and Robert Rodriguez in Star Wars, and everything else that Robert Rodriguez does.
There we go.
So I'm going to leave one of the notisements because I feel like it's a noticement that we're all going to talk about.
Okay.
Did you notice that in the Gen Z gang, when they're, well, first, Minor Grievous.
If Boba tells him to do something, are they going to be like, okay, boomer?
Pretty much.
Okay, Boba.
So, first off, they steal water from Milton, and they are outside of his store with the water. That's a little grievous I had with that. So, when Boba confronts them, there's 7 there around the fire, but in the chase scene and in the fight scene with BK, there are only 4.
Huh.
What happened to the other 3?
Maybe only 4 took the job? Good question.
Well, all 7 walked with Fennec.
Oh. Well, then.
Ooh.
Do you take all of your. I don't know. Maybe they were. I have no answers for you.
Like, I'm
How
assuming
many
it's just because they want to focus on a certain few of them. That's what I'm
Maybe.
just assuming, and they just wanted to make
Very,
it bigger.
a very diverse group of tweens.
Yes.
How many came to the rescue of Boba when BK was in there?
4.
4.
Okay, so it was still 4.
Yeah.
And it seemed like
Alright.
each of them had their own, like, each of them has their own little thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Their own Zord.
yeah, pretty much. You put it perfectly when you called them the Power Rangers, and the colors of their little speeders match
Also-
their powers.
Also going to be part of my 1-sentence summary, so get ready for it.
I feel like all of us are going to talk about the Gen Z gang.
Oh my god. Yes. Speaking of the Rangers, the chase scene was not greatly executed. It was okay. But one thing I noticed, if you were a Resistance watcher, which I don't know if either of you watched the Resistance, but he crashes into the fruit stand and all those fruits fall on him. That fruit, I think, is very particular to the Resistance show. I don't remember the episode, but I just remember that style of fruit kind of making its way in animation up in the Resistance, which, continuity-wise makes a lot of sense, being as Resistance is not too far away in terms of time here. So, and I'm sure that fruit existed for way, way longer, but that's kind of a cool little thing that I noticed about the little fruit there. So I thought that was nice.
There are certain parts of the chase scene that I actually liked, because especially when they were chasing the cruiser, it didn't look very CGI.
No, the cruiser I think the cruiser was legit. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked great, and I really enjoyed that about the scene. I think the chase scene just went on a little too long.
Yeah, my first watch on the chase scene, I was like, this is great. This reminds me of Solo in the beginning. With what he was doing and just the way it was shot was really cool. I'm very upset that our boy Mayor Dojo, whatever his name is, Mayor Domo, was not saying my apologies as he's ramming into things, right? He should have had that on repeat. But yeah, no, I liked how the bike gang handled the chase. You could tell that they were on top of something. Like, it just didn't feel natural in their movements, for a 1950s bicycle.
The one thing I did like about the chase, and I know that we're talking about like how weird the CGI looked at some parts, the one scene where Major Domo like rams into the one bike, it just kind of goes up and over the awning and then back down.
Yeah,
I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah,
because that was like very stunt-ish, but there were elements of the chase scene I did like, and then there were elements that I really just absolutely did not like.
Yeah. What chase scene was more realistic? Are you ready? So we're in 2022. Well, I guess this would be filmed in 2021. Maybe even 2020 when this was filmed. You don't know. The chase scene we just saw, or the Return of the Jedi speeder bike scene where they're sitting in front of a screen and it's just movement.
This one. I think
this one.
Yeah.
It's like...
Because now we know how hard it is to jump from the speeder to speeder.
That's true. I forgot about that.
Like, I think to a degree we suspend disbelief with the original trilogy,
for sure.
Because of the time it was made in. So now we expect like all this greatness now.
I want them
But
on
yeah, I
the
mean-
LA highway on this chase scene. Like that's what I want.
Yeah,
But, yeah.
definitely. No, I mean, it's
Yeah, it felt a little off, but that's okay. Like you said, I will on the first viewing will kind of like go, all right, that's fine. Even though he did a full 90-degree turn, you know, and it didn't seem natural at all. But okay, all right. I thought the Starliners at the end were really cool, bringing people onto Mos Espa, and I'm pretty sure that's a little plug for Galaxy's Edge. You know, it's not the same ship that I think it's the Halcyon or the Halicon or whatever that they're touting there, but like the window design sort of and the antenna on top gave me a good sort of vibe on that. And again, this is 30 years prior
correct.
to what that is,
Yeah.
so I'm sure the ship has evolved and whatever. But I would think that that's an early callback to the future of Galaxy's Edge. That star. I mean, just calling them the Starliner is too obvious for me. You know, so you don't just call it a Starliner. You call it a cruiser, call it a ship, you know, whatever. And they called it specifically a Starliner. You know, so I thought that was pretty interesting. For me on the notisements, I don't have a lot left. Anybody else?
I have a bunch of random little things.
All right, go ahead, fire away.
So, with the chase scene, did the painting that he drives through?
Laughed out loud.
It's a Ralph McQuarrie.
Nice.
Whoa. Okay.
So from Mando, the scene where Grogu is eating all the eggs and the spider comes and gets them.
Uh-huh.
Did the painting of that spider, and he did the Boba painting.
Nice.
That was driven through. Did you notice the weapon that Boba was going for in the fight with BK?
Whispering birds. What do they call them? Whispering birds?
Whistling
birds. Yeah. That looked the same to me. He didn't quite get there in time before he got knuckle punched by Sonic's sworn enemy.
And I mean,
Idris Elba?
Yes.
and I'm just rattling them off. I don't know if anybody has any other ones that they want to rattle off.
I've got two.
I want to talk about the music real quick.
Yes.
Okay.
So I feel like the music has, from our boy Ludwig, has been very underwhelming so far. But the music in this episode has been very like churchish, especially with the choirs.
Yeah, Tusken Raiders. I definitely felt some biblical ties to that for sure. Yeah.
Celestial.
Yes. Evangelical.
With the riding of the Bantha. And, you know, discovering his village absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
Quick question I have, because I'm just rattling them off, because I feel like one of your two is going to be the same one I have, and we'll all talk about it.
Okay.
Is it Mock Shaiz or Mock Shays?
They've said it several times.
Is it like Data and Data?
Well,
Like,
hold on.
what-
He did say, I can't trust Boba Fett's pronunciation because he does say gladiator. So his
There was
Shaiz.
There was someone else who said Shaiz.
Okay.
It may have
But
been
the-
Major Domo, but 88.
I
I love
said
88.
he's great.
Mock Shays.
He said Shays.
Like that chair that you just sit in. Like a chaise.
Yes.
I prefer Shaiz. That
I like
sounds
Shaiz.
more like, I don't know, uppity.
Yeah.
Agree to
More
disagree.
regal, more
Give me Shays.
political.
Ooh. Give me
Ooh.
Shays or give me hell.
So you're throwing shade at Shaiz.
I'm throwing
Ooh.
Shays at you.
Now that was
throwing Shays, new segment on the show.
that was there you go. Here we go. We're going from Grievuses to throwing Shays.
That's kind of perfect. That's so good.
All right. From henceforth, next episode we'll be throwing Shays. This is not throwing Shays, but I'm sure you noticed the Stormtrooper pikes in Mos Eisley, which is a direct reference to I was going to say Mandarin. That doesn't make any sense. A Mandalorian. And then the second thing was I kind of like that they have payphones in Mos Espa. You can just make a FaceTime call from the street, and that's great. I thought that was a really cool world building.
Had one more. Did you guys notice? I can't think of her character now, but Tracy Ullman. After the fight,
Pelly.
Yes,
Pelly
yes,
was walking with those little top hat droids Boba was looking at the stormtrooper helmets.
Great.
On the
I love it. The connections. It's so,
it was just like this weird, like, hey, we're passing paths and we're on the same, wavelength.
Yeah. That's years before she meets Mando. Years before she meets Mando and gets involved in stuff like that. So yeah, that's a wonderful, wonderful way of
very cool.
Putting it all together. Kind of Mandoverse is growing, and those little things like that will go a long way.
Oh yeah,
to making this CW style TV series. That's what they're doing, and that's exactly what they're doing. I'm telling you, and it's all good stuff. Okay, final call for notisements before we move on to the 1-sentence summaries.
I am good.
Okay,
my last one was Pelly.
Oh, very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Good call there. So, actually, Swerve here. Before we get to the 1-sentence summaries, I do have some sounders. I would like to do sounders and adding to the Book of Boba Fett's glossary, if that's okay.
Can I go back? There's one thing I forgot.
Yes. Hold on. Okay. Pretend this was 5 minutes ago.
It's just
reading through his notes.
It's just one quick noticement. And it was from last episode actually, but because it showed up in the opening, the recap, I decided to include it in this one.
Yeah,
with the captions on. Did you notice that Ichuta is Huttese?
Yes, Huttese is a common language of the Hutts.
I didn't realize that Ichuta was a Huttese curse.
Yeah, and we've heard that a lot in the Star Wars trilogies. Like the Jawas, I think, almost scream it sometimes and stuff like that.
Yeah, towards C-3PO, but I didn't realize it was Huttese.
Yeah, good. Yes,
and I learned something today.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. That's a good one. Good call to the noticement there. So some of the sound clips I've already played, but I do have a few that I think you will enjoy.
Where does that leave us now?
Everyone is waiting to see what kind of leader you are.
So am I. Right? That's right at the beginning of the episode. Everybody's waiting to see what kind of leader you are. Going back to last episode, I am no longer a bounty hunter. Right, so he's redefining himself. He's trying to fall into that little leadership role, I guess, big leadership role of the crime lord. Now, going into some encyclopedics, here's a clip with the first phrase and word that I would like to talk about.
Perhaps we'll learn what's really going on in this murky fen.
So we've got murky fen. Right, so that's
I have an entire section of my notes just called Boba SATs.
Okay, hold on. Stay with it. So that's murky fen. Now we move on to this one.
You better fight as good as you talk, Dank.
So you gotta fight as good.
I wrote it down too.
All right, so I was going back. I was forwarding. I was fast forwarding and rewinding and trying to find these little clips as I was going. So we got Murky Fen. We've got Dank. At the end, I didn't get it, but at the end he goes, "Bring your gack. Get together and bring your gack." G-A-K. Bring your gack.
Real quick about Dank is, I know you do this too, Sean. You watch with the captions on
all the time. Not one time I will not watch it. I even watch the Eternals with the captions on, which was more interesting than watching the Eternals.
That sounds like a nightmare. Did you notice that Dank had italics to it?
No, I didn't. So it's like a colloquialism,
or like Dank Ferrick, because Dank Ferrick was also used again. Like,
Yes.
you
Hold
better.
on. Are you sure?
Thanks, Ferric.
So, what the hell is just dank? Is it
I think
like?
I'm gonna curse right now. I think he called her a little fuck.
See, I thought it was bitch.
It
has
could
to be
be.
something,
It's got to be like a strong curse word, right?
Yeah, some swear word of some
You know,
sort.
like big time stuff there. Sorry, Mom, if you're listening to this. She's not. Next up, there's a little time between, and I didn't really catch any words, but he does tell. I didn't capture the audio here, but he does tell BK to not get involved with scug holes. Scug holes.
Boba SATs.
He does sat on the throne. And then of course I had that dank Ferric at the end. So we've got just for those keeping score, Murky Fen, Dank, Gak, and Dank Ferric, and Skughole. So that's our vocabulary, and we expect that you memorize these and be ready to take the quiz at the end of the podcast. Speaking of, when I post the video onto Anchor, I can actually put questions in polls, and on Spotify you can answer those questions in polls. So that's kind of interesting. It's kind of Anchor's owned by, or Spotify owns Anchor, so that's a way of them driving some audience. I'm still not getting analytics from them on the mobile application, only on the website, which is weird. But that's all right. We're 3 into it now. Now I'm just going to keep going with it. Okay. Thank you for Boba SATs and all the words. Stay tuned for more. I think we have to do a full watch to get all the words, and then maybe publish a book. I think that's what we should do. We should publish a white paper.
I have been.
Have you been chronicling them?
Not necessarily chronicling, but I have started to put like one section of my when I take my notes to just like.
Nice. Weird
lines
words
that make no sense. Speaking in riddles. Yes. What is this vocabulary that we've never seen?
Is Boba Fett Dr. Seuss?
He might be. Do you remember taking the cat test, and like every couple years you had that one section where you had the memory thing, and the only thing I still remember to this day is a lep is a ball. And then, like, you went through and took all these cognitive tests, and then it would come back to the memory test, and the only thing I would get 1 out of 20. It was 20 words I had to memorize, and I always remembered that a lep is a ball.
There you go. And look at you now. You're kind of a scientist.
Murky Fen.
Exactly. Well, let's clear up some of this Fen here, and let's break it down. Let's make it real simple. This episode is brought to you by one sentence summary. Okay. Does anybody have a song? Because if you have a song, you go last. That's the rules. Okay, that's the rules. Okay, so it's
going to be what everyone wants to say, but yeah.
All right, that's fine. Mike, why don't you start? I'll go second. Damien, you go third.
So I do not have a song, but I do have a play on a slogan.
Okay.
A popular candy. Cyborgs taste the rainbow.
Nice. Very good. I enjoy it.
Shit.
Okay. All right, mine is it's a compound sentence. Riding on a Rancor, Boba Zordon lead the Mighty Morphin Cyborg Rangers through the streets of Mos Espa to prepare against the Pikes.
Okay, I like it.
Okay, kind of just cut and dry. I needed to tell you what was going to happen. All right, Dames, the floor is yours.
I mean, it's 4 words. One of the greatest 90s shows of all time. Paraphrased. Go, go, Boba Ranger.
Yes. I wish
it's a layup.
You gotta give me time on that, and I would have gotten the Power Rangers theme for you.
Low hanging fruit right there.
Okay. What a great guitar solo. Whoever psychotically made that one, right?
Totally rips. Like
my
to this
gosh.
day, I listen to that and I'm like, I'm like the spider sense where my hair's.
You're on the Peloton, just listening to the Power Rangers
if
theme.
only they had that on the Peloton. Oh my god.
I'm sure they do.
I probably hit a PR for like everything.
Don't the Peloton has USB drives you can just stick in like MP3s? Okay. Next episode predictions. It is the middle episode of our series. I think they're gonna, he has to, there's the Pikes are coming, the first wave. We must prepare. That's why I think BK is going to be back in. He's going to send a Raven to BK, and BK is going to be back in. He has to build up his alliances, and then we are 1,000% going to get. The Eye of the Rancor.
Oh man, it's gonna be. I am so excited for that.
Yes, that's my predictions for next week. Dames.
I got 2 predictions here. So I mean, obviously with the Pikes coming in, like there's so many Solo vibes.
Yeah,
to
really
this.
is.
And I just really think that, we're going to get our girl from Solo. It's going to happen. Like, it just is setting things up. It would just be a nice thing to do for Solo to kind of redeem Solo.
It would.
So, yeah, that's still my biggest prediction. But actually, there's one that's bigger because obviously Boba needs an army. And no army is complete without Dengar.
Dengar, 3 episodes in a row. It's going to happen.
Show up at some point.
It's going to happen.
He literally shows up at some point.
It's going to
my
happen.
family will hear me audibly scream at 5 a.m. as I'm watching the episode because
I love it. I hope
I'm
so.
going to die on the Dengar Hill.
You listen. You're up there now by yourself, but I'm coming. I'm climbing with you, man. You throw me the rope. All right, Mike. What's your predictions, bud?
I believe that this episode will be a downer of an episode right in the middle.
Okay.
I think it's going to be one of those middle Mando type of episodes where he just went to a new planet, completed a new mission. But this is going to be like him trying to assemble a team.
Ooh.
And I think it's going to be like a 2-episode arc of him getting certain groups, whatever. Maybe he gets another millennial or Gen Z group.
Sorry. Could you imagine Ludwig?
Ludwig just throwing out. He did do the music for Creed.
Listen,
That's true.
Come on now. I'm just trying to make connections for everybody. Okay, I like your theory there. Because they've done that with Mando, where they did 2-episode little mini arcs. Yeah,
I don't,
Like
but I
very
do think there's
heavy or something.
Yeah, I do think there's going to be a big reveal. I don't know if it's going to be the next episode with somebody he teams up with, but possibly episode 5 where Cobb Vanth comes into play.
Ooh, okay.
Cobb.
So we got
Definitely need Cobb.
We got Dengar. We got Cobb. Oh wait, does Cobb have the armor?
No, because
Not yet?
Boba has. Well,
right.
He wouldn't have it.
Pardon me. I was thinking in the past.
Maybe Boba gives him some armor.
Hmm.
Like he gives him like some, hey, here's some spare armor that I got laying around.
Here's some spare underwear.
It is without tag to prevent the
Here's some
chasing.
Dankin armor. Go put it on and go to battle.
I washed this recently to remove the murky fen.
Oh, how bad did you cringe when he went, keep an eye on them? How bad did you cringe?
Oh, I liked it.
No, like
I liked it.
It's
just an expression. Sorry,
he dropped
mate.
the sorry, mate, right? He
Sorry,
said,
mate.
sorry, mate.
Sorry, mate. No, I think the other guy said, it's okay, mate.
Yeah.
It's okay, mate. All right, let's move on to, and let's do our final thing, our comments from the net.
You know, Teo.
Comments from the net. All right, Dame, I know you have a little bit of a descriptive one that I will not include in this YouTube video unless, of course, you send it to me. I'm not going to include it in the YouTube video, but we'll try to link it somewhere. What do you have? I see you're fumbling with it. He's trying to find it. It's no big deal.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I always go to Superhero Hype because I'm a top fan on Facebook. No big deal.
Why don't you brag about it?
I think I liked like 10 posts in a row, and they're like, "You're a top fan. Add your badge." I'm like, "All right,
Sweet,
you got it." But there was one where it said,
Good job.
"This chase scene." This chase scene was faster than the chase scene in Book of Boba Fett, and it was George Costanza on a motorized scooter from Seinfeld going down the street, where he's like looking behind him, and someone put the GIF in there, and it was so good.
They might as well put these speeders against the steamroller in Austin Powers.
stop!
Move out of the way. Get out of.
It was so like I liked aspects of it, like we said.
Nah,
there was also moments where I'm like, how slow are these guys moving? Like Major Domo.
I don't know
like,
what's going on.
It's
It's like they didn't shoot low enough angles to make it feel faster, and I think, like Mike, you said, it went on too long. So then we started getting critical of it.
Yeah,
but I also think that it went on so long to show that Espa is damn large. You know, in terms of route taking and whatever. But we digress. All right, Mike, give us your comments from the net.
I literally just went to Twitter, hashtag Book of Boba Fett,
100%.
and it was one of the top ones that I laughed at. It was a picture of Gen Z, and it said on their bikes, and it said Mos Espa, more like Mos Vespa.
That would have been a good one-sentence summary.
Yeah,
I know you couldn't steal it. You felt bad about it.
I felt so bad, and I didn't. I had to not say Vespa at all throughout the episode.
That was good.
I wanted to so bad.
Perfect.
That's awesome. All right, the one I got is classic. It's so classic. This episode was the biggest disappointment in anything Star Wars I've ever experienced in all my 45 years as a fan. I'm friggin' shocked.
Wow. Jeez.
Good Lord.
Critical much?
The
Holy
beat
crap.
continues from the fandom. I'm just taking it in stride. That's just what it is. You know, I'm not head over heels about it. I'm not going to defend it. You know, we've talked about the shortcomings, but overall, out of the 3 episodes, probably the best episode we've seen for storyline.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But one of my good buddies from the Red 5 network, Ro Gaza, makes a great point, and now after 3 episodes, I may agree with him. It's kind of looking fan filmish right now in terms of production quality. And maybe it's on purpose, so they save all their Mandalorian to be that top-notch cinematic experience. Maybe this is on purpose. They don't want to match it, and they don't want people to say they're copying off of their style and whatever. But there's definitely a step down. The B team is out, and you can tell. We're in Pool D of the Olympics right now, and Kazakhstan is playing Argentina in basketball, and it's showing. But let's see if they can kind of figure that out for next episode. Do we have any final thoughts and words, Damien? I throw it to you.
I don't know. Like, it's weird. Like, we're talking about the CGI is weird in some scenes.
Yeah.
Then it looks great. The practical effects look great. So I mean, I don't know.
Mikey?
Yeah, I'm saying the CGI comes and goes. Like, it switches back and forth between like really good like CGI and then just really bad, and then practical effects. But also, I just want to make the comparison of Rancors to Pitbulls. Bred to fight, but sometimes they could be really sweet.
I love it. I
I like it.
And I'll end with just a repeat of the same clip. And of course, This is ASW, the Star Wars podcast premiere channel YouTube video thing. That's Damien. Follow him on Casa de Dupree. That's Mr. Mike. He doesn't have a social he likes to promote. He's going to interrupt me one more, son of a bitch.
My OnlyFans, Ho Dameron.
Nice. Nice.
Almost forgot.
I gotta hold on. We're gonna make a quick change, and I gotta do OnlyFans segment because I'll 100% remember that for next time. Okay, so yes, that's Mike. You can follow him at onlyfans.com//Ho Dameron. Ho Dameron, and yes, he does have a black X-wing, and we'll end the show on that. And just like as our friend Boba says,
Perhaps we'll learn what's really going on in this murky family.
we'll see ya episode 4 next week, everybody.